on this 1312 hours. I haven't had it long enough to really give you an accurate reading, but I have to say I've used only a quarter of the available power on here, and I've been using it quite heavily. Apple says 6.5 hours remaining, which is slightly less than 12 hours. I do think you're going to get that kind of battery life. And all the other reviewers who've had it for a little bit longer are claiming excellent battery life, more than 12 hours in some cases in normal use. So that's pretty impressive. It also has a much faster SSD. I was very surprised to find out when I benchmarked it that it was the fastest SSD I'd ever used, except for one on my Mac Pro using the PCI Express bus, and there's a reason for that. Apple has moved their solid-state drive off of the SATA bus, and on the new MacBook Airs, they're on the PCI Express bus, and that makes a very, very big difference. We're talking 600 megabytes a second read and write on this thing. Very fast. They offer it in a stock configuration of 128 gig hard drive, 8 gigabytes of RAM. That's an SSD hard drive at a starting price of $1099. These are a little less expensive, actually, than the MacBook Airs of previous years. And there's one thing that you might wonder about. The processor speed is a little bit slower. This is a maxed-out MacBook Air, so I put an i7 in it running at only 1.7 gigahertz, although it will step up to faster speeds. Slightly slower processor speeds on here, giving you slightly slower benchmark results, but I have to tell you, you won't notice the difference. And one of the benefits, of course, because it's using Haswell, is much, much better battery life. And I think that this is plenty fast enough. However, the slower processor speed and the desire for increased battery life do mean that we're not going to get the best screen resolution possible. This is, not a Retina display. It's 1440 by 900, which is nowadays, I think, a little low for a 13-inch notebook. Apple has really defined this category. The MacBook Air was the first Ultrabook before Intel even thought of the phrase Ultrabook, and all the other Ultrabooks really are copying the MacBook Air. It is still a gorgeous design, thin, light, very portable. And, of course, the unibody aluminum means it feels robust in the hand. It doesn't torque or twist. This is, the Cadillac, the class act of thin and light notebooks, and remains so. Easily the best trackpad on the market. And that's another thing that's missing here is there's no touch screen as you'd find on many of these Windows 8 laptops, but Apple's done such a good job with the trackpad and the trackpad gestures that many folks say, I don't mind because I'm getting, the kind of touch-responsive experience just using the trackpad alone. I'm not sure I agree with that. I'd love to see a Retina display on this. I'd love to see a touch screen. It is a lower resolution than, for instance, the comparably priced Acer S7, which has a 1080p display. And I notice it. I use so many Retina devices now that I really can see the difference in terms of the screen resolution. It's not exactly horrible, but it's just not as crisp as I'd like it. So let me, but I have to tell you, amazing battery life, amazing throughput on the SSD drives. The reboot is just seconds. It feels perfectly responsive, and of course you wouldn't maybe with a Retina display be able to push these pixels around as fast as I am. It's just these are important distinctions to know about. The price starts at $1099 as configured here. This is about $1,450 because I did get the top of the line, put an i7 in it, put 8 gigs of RAM in it, so you can build to order and get it to be a lot more expensive. Pros on this.